hospice, your money stays here, helping people and businesses in the same communities where you live and work. To us, local banking means more than just having local offices. It means that when the communities we serve succeed, we succeed. WSFS Bank. We stand for service. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Headlines you can't get through your day without. On Power 101.7.
13. Very sad yesterday. 13 U.S. troops and at least 60 Afghans were killed in a terrorist attack on the airport in Kabul, Afghanistan yesterday. Carried out by 2 suicide bombers and gunmen. 18 service members were injured, as were more than 140 Afghans. The attackers struck in the crowds outside the airport, which have been chaotic scenes of people trying to get in, as the U.S. has been carrying out an airlift evacuation of Americans and at-risk Afghans. One blast took place near one of the airport gates, and the other at or near the Baron Hotel, which is right nearby, where many were told to gather in recent days before going to the airport. The U.S. and other Western officials have warned hours earlier of possible attacks. The U.S. officials had repeatedly spoken about the threat on the airport operation from ISIS-K, the Islamic State ISIS affiliation in Afghanistan. ISIS, in fact, claimed responsibility for the attack. The Taliban, which has taken over Afghanistan, is not to believe to be involved and condemned the terror attack. President Biden did speak emotionally from the White House. And here goes some audio from President Biden.
To those who carried out this attack, as well as anyone who wishes America harm, know this: we will not forgive. We will not forget. We will hunt you down and make you pay.
That, of course, was President Biden yesterday. Also, he talked about the soldiers who died. Of course, they were heroes.
These American service members who gave their lives, it's an overused word, but it's totally appropriate here, were heroes. Heroes who've been engaged in a dangerous, selfless mission to save the lives of others.
And, of course, he talked about the evacuation, and we're trying to get out of there. We'll continue.
We will not be deterred by terrorists. We will not let them stop our mission. We will continue the evacuation. These ISIS terrorists will not win. We will rescue the Americans in there. We will get our Afghan allies out. And our mission will go on. America will not be intimidated.
That was President Biden speaking yesterday on the situation.
Wow. We will not forgive and we will not forget.
Yeah. Strong words. Strong words from the president. So, Kentucky and Texas have joined the growing number of states that now have a record number of hospitalized COVID-19 patients, more than any other time since the pandemic began. At least 6 other states, Arkansas, Florida, Louisiana, Hawaii, Mississippi, and Oregon, have already broken their hospitalization records. And New Mexico health officials warned on Wednesday the state is about a week away from having having a ration health care. Deaths nationwide are now at more than 1,100 a day, the highest since mid-March. New cases per day are around 152,000. Numbers last seen at the end of January. Now, on a positive note, I hear that California is apparently plateauing. They're talking about, and overall, they're saying several states have a record number, but overall, as a nation, it's kind of plateauing. Mm-hmm. So, with more people getting the vaccine,
well, I hope so. I mean, we have so many more resources now.
Yeah.
So,
Dr. Fauci's encouraging the antibody medication.
Okay.
So we'll definitely be following the whole COVID-19 situation on the ground. So we'll keep you up to date on that. The Supreme Court is allowing evictions to resume, blocking a temporary ban yesterday that had been instituted by the Biden administration due to the ongoing pandemic. The High Court said the Center for Disease Control and Prevention lacked the authority to reimpose the eviction moratorium on August 3rd without congressional authorization after it expired days earlier. The 3 liberal justices dissented from the unsigned opinion. The administration had called on state and local officials to more quickly distribute $46.5 billion in rental assistance approved by Congress, only about 11% of which has been given out and for state and local courts to issue their own moratoriums. So the evictions will resume. You got to pay your rent.
You do.
There's plenty of jobs available. You can go back to work. People are back,
Yeah, we have to get this back on track.
This can't go on forever. I mean, obviously there's people hurting and, out and been struggling, but you're supposed to work your way back, or at least do everything you can to work your way back. So there still is assistance out there, but
Wow. Okay.
that's where we're at. And
Yeah, that ruling doesn't surprise me though.
it says the high court
I was
says
expecting that.
the CDC lacked the authority to reimpose the eviction moratorium. It's funny, and not even funny, but throughout this pandemic, it's crazy that there's been so many recommendations from different groups and organizations to where people think that they're the final answer. They're the
Right.
authority.
Right.
The CDC, the World Health Organization, the Maryland Board of Education. You know what I'm saying? They don't make the calls. They can recommend, but you're not going to get arrested if you don't follow the People make recommendations every day. People make recommendations every day, B. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't got to follow. You ain't getting locked up if you don't take the recommendation. Now, there's some people who get pissed that you don't take the recommendation.
Oh, of course. Of course.
But everybody's different. So that's the thing. But the CDC doesn't, just because they say it. Now, there's people who follow the CDC, then you got to listen to them. But that don't mean that you have to follow.
Right. The CDC doesn't make the law.
There you go. You know
Yes.
what? Doesn't make the law. Correct.
Recommendation.
And then it's up to whoever to follow
Yes,
that.
to follow.
So, but again, Supreme Court has now they make the rules. The Supreme
do.
Court makes the rules.
They do.
So they're allowing evictions to resume. So there you go. 7 U.S. Capitol police officers who were attacked and beaten during the January 6th attack on the Capitol filed a suit yesterday against former President Donald Trump, his allies, including Roger Stone, and members of the far-right extremist groups, including the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers. The suit accuses its targets of intentionally sending a violent mob to disrupt Congress's certification of the presidential election results. It alleges Trump worked with white supremacists, violent extreme groups, and campaign supporters to violate a Ku Klux Klan act and commit acts of domestic terrorism in an unlawful effort to stay in power. Wow. Strong lawsuits. Hurricane watches were issued for Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama yesterday for Tropical Storm Ida, which is threatening to hit along northern Gulf Coast as a major hurricane by the end of the weekend. Major hurricanes are those that are Category 3 or higher. The National Hurricane Center issued a warning late yesterday afternoon saying there's an increasing risk of life-threatening storm surges, damaging hurricane-force winds, and heavy rainfall Sunday and Monday, especially along the coast of Louisiana. So there you go. Our thoughts are with everyone down south.
Absolutely.
Well, here we go. This coming from 47 ABC.
right.
The Maryland Board of Education has voted to require children and adults to wear masks in schools statewide this fall. Most of Maryland's 24 jurisdictions already have mandated masks in schools. However, 5 counties have not: Dorchester, Somerset, and Worcester here on the Eastern Shore. We're told the mandate will still need, so there's another step that has to take place. It's still going to need approval by the Maryland General Assembly Joint Committee on Administrative, Executive, and Legislative Review. On Wednesday, a bipartisan coalition of 32 Maryland senators sent a letter to the board urging them to approve emergency masking in schools. Senate President Ferguson released the following statement on the vote. A majority of Maryland Senate called on the State Board of Education to I don't know what that is, for an emergency regulation to institute a statewide masking policy for schools, and we applaud them for doing this afternoon. Today's vote demonstrates that President Crawford and the board recognize the importance of safety, keeping Maryland students in the classroom through proven mitigation strategies. I would like to personally thank State Superintendent for the leadership on this issue. His voice is a critical component of today's decision to do what is best interest of our students, families, teachers, and staff. The Joint Committee on Administrative, Executive, and Legislative Review will work to approve the emergency regulation. So it's got to go through another step.
Wow.
We'll keep you up to date. Governor Hogan left it up to each school district, and they are overriding this.
Yeah, they are. Special meeting happened yesterday.
So now, if it does go through, we'll keep you up to date and let you know. But apparently, they're going to review it each month.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be like, hey, you got to wear masks to school the whole year. Maybe, but they're going to review it each month. And, see if they can revisit it and see if they can lift that eventually. But
Yeah, this article I have here says that only one board member voted against it. It was a parent of a 5 and a 3-year-old, and he calls the mask mandate very foolish. Mask apparently would be mandatory for 180 days, with the board readdressing the rule every month, like you said. But he says, I think it's very foolish. This is a very foolish idea because getting young kids to wear a mask is a losing battle. Kids are very low risk for any complications from the COVID virus. Wow.
I think it should be a choice.
But on the other side, there's another parent here saying that they believe that the masks are the most important tool for keeping kids safe and schools open.
Then put it on your kid. Now again, I don't want schools to close. Let's be clear.
Right.
I don't want, classrooms to have to quarantine. I don't want none of that. So, and I'm not an expert, but.
Wow. So now state lawmakers now have to approve the mask mandate.
Okay.
So it does go through one more step. I am feeling and leaning towards that it will pass.
I have a feeling it's going to pass. I have not heard. I wonder if Governor Hogan's going to speak on it. I'm interested to know what he's going to have to say about it.
Yeah.
But we will definitely be following the story. Anything else, Jess?
Let's see here. There is a search underway for a Princess Anne stabbing suspect. The Maryland State Police are searching for a suspect wanted in connection to a reported stabbing that happened early yesterday morning in Princess Anne. Police have identified the suspect as 63-year-old Harold Cropper. Preliminary investigations does indicate that he was visiting friends at a residence. He attacked a woman who was on the front steps. And the woman told police that she was previously in a relationship with Mr. Cropper. So an arrest warrant has been obtained for him, charging him with 2 counts of first-degree assault, 2 counts of second-degree assault, reckless endangerment, possession of a dangerous deadly weapon, and violation of a protective order. If anyone has any information on his whereabouts, please call the Princess Anne Barrack at 443-260-3700. And there is a fin whale that has been discovered stranded in the Delaware Bay. Officials yesterday did report that responders with the Murr Institute are there at the point at Cape Henlopen State Park in Lewis. The whale was reported stranded on a sandbar. Initial observation this morning, officials say that the whale has moved off of the sandbar and close to the shore rather than into deeper water. So biologists are there standing by, monitoring the animal, and they feel that they are coming up with a responsive plan. It includes palliative care, sedation, or euthanasia. Officials say that it's unknown what is causing the whale to strand there, but when large whales come to shore like this, it's usually meaning that there's an underlying reason, like an injury or a disease. So they are keeping a close eye on this situation in the Delaware Bay.
Okay. It is the Bill and Jessica Show. We got sports up next. Here's Wale, Chris Brown. Good